Here we are again on New Shoes. This is the 5th video, and I have with me Wyatt and Marianne.
Hi.
So, what stories do you have to share today?
I've always known that I was a homosexual since like 3rd grade. I knew I didn't like girls. Around when middle school came is when everything started to get really like serious. Like I started to discover what gay was. Everything kind of just hit me in the face, and that's when everyone else started to know what it was, and it was like really, it was bash, like around our community and on the news, and especially in Columbus, being Columbus, it's just a bad time. A lot of kids were very, very mean. They were very distant. I did have a very like nice, support system. I didn't come out to them until like 8th grade though, like the very end. But it's still that assurance to like come out to them. Yeah, it makes you feel better. Biggest problem in middle school was a time when my like most darkest spot in life happened. There was a straight guy who I started talking to a lot, and it got serious on my level to where I thought he understood me. So as it progressed, he eventually found out like, I was gay, because I'd leave hints and stuff. And so it was basically trying to like find someone to cope with that was a guy, and made a mistake. Things got really bad. I was separated from the group that I had hung out with for like 2 years because of it. I tried to talk to them about it, and it was just a lot of like ignorance and misunderstanding, and I spent a lot of time in the bathrooms, like during lunch, crying.
What do you think made them misunderstand, and like what do you think they're afraid of?
I guess it's just the built up fear that's put in their heads. Not everyone's against it, but like the majority was against it. A lot of people are religious in Columbus and everywhere, but like that's also a big part of that.
So the ignorance and immaturity all combined into one big fiasco.
So that had a long-term effect.
Yeah, oh yeah.
For me, backing off of Wyatt's story, like what I've experienced with the LGBT youth is these kids' family life also turns into a negative environment for them as well. I don't think people realize this, but it's like bullying too. Like, people, I think when they think of bullying, they think of their peers, bullying other peers, but it can be by adults too, especially with LGBT issues, because adults as well, just as well as teenagers, are also ignorant and confused and afraid, and they don't know why. And so that causes them, adults, their parents, to lash out at them. And it's not necessarily abuse, like I'm not saying it's like physical or awful, but it is bullying. And they go home every day, and if their parents know, then and they don't approve of them, then their parents just like treat them as if they're lesser, even though they know that they're good kids, but yet here they are getting the messages from their parents that they're not okay, and that they're going to tear their family apart, or that it'd be better if they were doing drugs or something that their parents could deal with. It just creates this terrible negative environment inside their heads and inside their family life.
Do you think there's anything in those home situations that could be done to lessen the effects that has on a kid?
I mean, on one hand, I don't want to say reject your family, because your family is very important, and it's not that they don't love you, it's just that they're also confused and ignorant. And so I would say you just need to be patient and try to help them not be ignorant.
I do feel like in older generations, like my mom and dad, the AIDS epidemic, like they were around for that as kids. And like grandparents especially, some of them aren't as accepting. And it's because they're like fearful because of all that stuff that happened back then.
Yeah, so I don't know, it's really hard, because at the same time you don't want to ask them to give up their beliefs if that's what they really want. But then at the same time, it's like they're rejecting their child.
Right.
Like, what's more important? At the end of the day, I don't have that answer.
And kids obviously look up to their parents, and they want their parents to accept them, and this could leave scars.
Yeah, it does, because you have so many mixed messages, and you just don't know what to do, and then it turns into inner turmoil, and some kids can't deal with that, and that's why you have suicides and all those awful things.
If you don't feel accepted by your family, who are you going to turn to?
Yeah, that's like your last, like...
It's supposed to be your base.
Yeah.
But then if it's torn out from underneath you, what do you do?
Your most comfortable or favorite pair of shoes?
I'm ready.
Stick her feet up.
Yes! Look at it!
We
Look
have
at its beauty.
Dirty Tom. I like my boots. Got them from Kohl's.
Random acts of kindness that we can give to the viewer to improve other people's day.
When people, in their minds is so dark and negative, but then if you can just like give them a smile. Like you don't even have to know them. Like you have no idea what all those people out there are struggling through. So if you just smile at them in the hallway, you pass by so many people if you go to school in the hallways or even in your everyday life. Just smile at them. Like I feel like it gives them just this spark of like, oh, you know, someone's smiling at me.
Being on that receiving end, knowing that someone that I don't talk to at all, like we have no communication whatsoever, haven't talked to them the whole 4 years that I've been here, and they still smile at me like occasionally in the hallway, like it brightens me up.
That's it. So, yeah. Thank you both for joining me today.